What you are watching was AI generated, there was no cast, no film crew, and a limited budget. Sound pretty easy, right? Not even close. Here's what you don't see. The finished film is only about 10% of the work. The other 90% happens behind the scenes, from developing the story, designing constant characters, to building believable environments, crafting prompts, fixing broken generation, and solving dozens of problems the AI creates along the way. So in this video, I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you exactly how this film came together, from the very first idea to the final export. So whether you're an AI filmmaker, a content creator, or simply curious about what's now possible with generative AI, you will see the complete production process, the mistake I made, the techniques that worked, and the lesson I will be taking into my next film. So that being said, let's dive in. Welcome back to my space. As you all know, I always give detailed breakdown of AI generated films and content I create, and this video is no exception. By the end of the video, you will have answers to questions like: what AI tools did I use in that video? How did I keep the character consistent? How long did the entire production take? How much did it cost? So I'll be walking you through every major stage, from developing the story, writing screenplay, to designing the characters, building the world, editing, sound design, and everything in between. I will also show you the film generation, this creative decision I made, and the techniques I used to overcome some of AI's biggest limitation. The goal isn't to show you what I created, is to show you how I created it, so you can apply these same ideas and techniques in your own AI film. So let's start from where every great film begins, with a single idea. So for this film, I already have an idea that I am working with even before creation, and the whole idea is just to create something related to K-drama, but now they are now speaking English instead of Korean. So that's the whole idea. And on Claude, all I just tell Claude is that yes, I want to create episodal rom-com long duration film, and I selected the target duration for the multi-episode. Actually, I was going with 30 to 15 minutes per episode before, but then when I calculated my credit usage and every other thing, I had to reduce it to around 10 minutes of video. That was why I broke it down to around 10 minutes per episode. So budget should also affect your decision. So that was what affected my decision. The budget was tight, and later in this video I'll show you the total cost of my whole generation. So now on Claude, yes, I already have a concept which I'm working with. So I gave the concept. The concept was basically about a brilliant forensic auditor that goes undercover to a futuristic fintech firm to expose the market manipulator using AI avatar, then try to bait that businessman and the light. So that's just the basic idea of what I'm trying to create, and the title is The Margin of Error. You can watch the film on my YouTube channels. I will also include a link in this video. So that was the whole idea. Then I included the other parts of the concepts, like the characters, the name, the major character Kim Anna, then the other one Julian Rodriguez, and other characters. So there are 4 major characters I included them in my concept and gave Claude rather. So I gave Claude the concept, and yes, that was where everything started from. So if you don't have a concept, you can actually think with Claude. You can collaborate with Claude for that concept building, but I already have mine, so that was why I was able to paste my concept here. And yes, and for you to get the concept, for you to get idea, you can probably go to Gemini or other GPT, or even use Claude. Tell it to combine 2 different movies together, 2 different films together. That was one of the initial place I started my ideation from. I picked 2 different film. Like the first one was business proposal, a K-drama. Then I can't remember the second drama, so I mixed them together. Then I converted the idea into forex trading, and yes, that was where the whole ideation came from. So the idea is very many. You can pick idea from several things, and after picking my idea, then I proceed to developing the concept. In the first stage, just like I said, I wanted to create 30 to 40, 50 minutes, then using Cdance 2.0, and after calculating my my total spending and everything I had to change. So that was why I changed from Seedance 2.0 to Clink. So what I'm basically saying is that the film was created using Clink 3.0 only. So after that, I built the concept, the early concept which I had. I pasted it in Claude, and Claude rebuilt that concept into a more reasonable concept, a more detailed concept. Not even reasonable, because I'm reasonable. So I broke it into a more detailed concept. And yes, after reading through the concept, I had to change some things inside the plot. So I told it, okay, yeah, this particular scenario should happen and the likes. So if you watch film, you can actually do that. So that's would actually help you in concept development. Just try to break everything. You can pinpoint, okay, yes, this particular thing, I don't want it at this particular point in the film. So that was what I did. Then after that, I went straight to story generation, to story structure. So I went to story structure. So from concept building, concept development to story structure. So story structure is my second phase, which I now started breaking the film into different acts, act 1, act 2, act 3. There is another video which I talked about this full breakdown. I will not be talking much about them. So that particular video contains the whole process you can follow through your whole AI filmmaking from the Claude skills I'm using. You can check the link to that video also. It will give you a detailed insight of what I'm trying to explain to you. So after that, after my stories structure, I converted the story to screenplay. And here now I'm moving straight to the critical things which you need in your AI film. Now you need 3 things. You need the character sheet, you need the location sheet, and you also need prompt. So these are the basic 3 things you need. Let me reiterate again. You need the characters reference sheet, you need the location reference sheet, you need the props, then you need the video generation prompt, and we'll be getting all of these from Claude. After getting all of those prompts, all of those descriptions from Claude, I went straight to my generative AI platform, and here I make use of OpenArt. It's quite cheap, yeah, if you compare with other tools. I think for me, I believe it's somehow cheaper compared to other tools, so that's why I use them a lot. And yes, I'm also affiliated to them. So yeah, I use OpenArt for this generation, and all I have to do was just using the prompts to generate my reference sheet. So I use the prompt I got to generate all of my reference sheet, from the character reference sheet, the grid image for the character. So here's an example for the grid image of the character to the environment. And one thing, after getting all of those base images, for each scene the clothing might change, and sometimes if you prompt the AI with the existing clothing in the character sheet you initially generated, if you prompt it with that particular clothing, you can have consistency issue, which I definitely encounter during the generation, because I was somehow skeptical about generating the character for different scenes, because for like 2 scenes the clothing changed. So I was skeptical about regenerating the character. But after wasting my credits, because for a scene, I have like 3 or 4 shots, so the clothing somehow differs from shot 1 to shot 2, so I had to regenerate. And the easiest solve to that, if you don't want to encounter such error, such issue, is by generating the character reference sheet again with the new clothing, with the new style. So it's very simple. All you just have to do is to upload the grid image, and just tell ChatGPT. So I use GPT image 2, so you can just tell it to regenerate the prompt. So you can say to change our clothes to another clothing style. So here, this is the grid image I generated initially, and then I just go to OpenArt using GPT Make 2 and say change our clothes to beige cardigan, light blue blouse, and dark trouser. And that was how I was able to get the character exact same character. There was no difference in her face, in everything, the same physics and every other thing, but the only difference is her clothing, and it's as simple as that. So for each scene, every scene you saw that your character changes her clothing, her appearances, you can always change her clothing and even her hairstyle and the likes. You can change it, keeping the characters consistent. So all you just have to do is to reference the base character reference sheet you created, and then you continue. So to fix environment issue, because sometimes you have the environment showing before the clip starts, before the clip for each generation. So I encountered this particular problem in OpenArt a lot when I reference a grid environment reference like this, and then I have the environment reference grid showing before the video generation, before the character animation starts showing. And for you to solve this, it's very simple. All you have to do is to create an environment reference. So you should create a background reference in OpenArt, and you can now reference that background reference. So to do that, the first thing you want to do is to extract each frame of this. So after generating this grid image, then I will extract all the cells. So we have 4 cells here, which are 4 pictures in this particular grid for this environment reference. I will extract each. Instead of referencing them together, I will extract them differently, then create a character background for them inside OpenArt. To do that, so let's start from extracting them. So for me to extract, it's very simple. All I did was referencing these. So I choose GPT Make 2 as my model. I go to create image, so choose GPT Make 2 as my model. Then I reference the grid image that I generated using GPT Make 2 again. So then what I did was saying extract the top left, maintain 16:9 aspect ratio and no text. So after that, I just click on generate and wait for it to be generated, and after waiting, I was able to get the first cell of that particular grid image. Then again, I repeated the same thing for the other one. For the second one, I said extract top right. Then for the third one, I said extract bottom right, and the last one bottom left. So that was how I was able to extract all those images. Now for you to create the background reference, which you'll be using to reference your scene. So for this shot, I want to reference the apartment. So for me to create a background reference, all you have to do is to go at the sidebar here, click on character and word. So I selected character and word, then I selected background, then I create a new background. For you to create a new background, all you have to do, you can create a new background with 2 approaches. The first approach is by uploading the image. So assuming if you downloaded the image on your device, you can just click here and then upload the images, the grid images from your device. But for this, we already have the image generated inside OpenArt. So I'll select history. Then after selecting history, I will scroll down to my creation. So on my creation, then I will select the first image here. I will add it, and after adding the first image, then I can now add 3 more images, making it 4, which is perfect. And so we have 4 images in that grid. So 4 images is perfect, as OpenArt can only support maximum of 4 images when you are creating a background reference. So I will now choose again from history. I will select the background again, the next one. So I will select the other 3 images, and after that you can name your background and create. So I already have this background created, I'm not doing it again. So then that was how I was able to create the background. And during video generation, all I did was basically referencing the background. So all I did was basically referencing the background. So you can just use arts then as environment reference. So you tag the environment reference after adding the environment reference to your text input here. To add it to your text input, all you have to do is to click on character and word, then select the environment reference you created, select it, and it will be added here. Then you can now reference that environment, the background reference, as your environment reference. So you can now reference the background reference as your environment reference. That was how I was able to reference my environment and also reference my character. To reference the character, it's also the same approach. All you have to do is to create a new character and world, then you select character, you create from start image, and you add your character reference grid. So here, for the character, you don't need to extract the frame, because for every model it works. All you have to do is to just add the grid image you generated. You can just add it once, and yes, you can name it, and then create the character. So if you have a voice you want to use, you can use a voice for it, or you can even create a new voice on OpenArt. So you can even create a new voice on OpenArt, and with that you can create your character on OpenArt, which you can reuse throughout your film. So you can have that character consistency and scene continuity in your film. So that was the approach I used for that. For the background music, I created the background music in a very simple approach. All I did was, on Claude, I generated my background music score here. So I generated my background music score, and I got the prompt, not even prompt like that, but the design, the overall movement of the song, of the instrumental. So here I'm not creating a lyrics. I don't need the lyrics. I'm creating an instrumental. So that instrumental is what the prompt I got from that instrumental is what I used. So that's what I used in my AI model generation. This AI model, MiniMax audio, that was what I used in MiniMax audio to generate my instrumental. It's very perfect, royalty free. This is the tools I used for my generation. And here you even have free credits here, like 50 or 500, like 500 generation, not 50 or 500 generation per day, if I'm correct, for this. So it's somehow free to generate music for the time being on MiniMax audio, and I'm actually enjoying that a lot, because I used it. All I did was switching from lyrics. So all I did here was switching from lyrics to instrumental. Then I just paste my prompts here, and then I start my generation. So you can see how I have generated tons of instrumental here, and these are the instrumental I used in my film. And for generating that instrumental, I make sure I told Claude to generate the prompt per scene. So per scene, I'm using those different instrumentals so that I can have a background feel for my film. So for the credits usage on OpenArt, I used less than $100 of credits, around $75 or so of credits, around $75 worth of credit for my whole generation. And the major reason I was able to reduce the credits up to that was because at some point after the first scene, I reduced my resolution to around 750p resolution. So that was what I did there. I reduced my resolution to 750p after like 2-3 scenes or so, if I'm correct. And that was how I reduced my cost. And doing exporting, I exported at 4K. So I reduced my resolution, then upscale using the AI upscale inside OpenArt, so you can upscale your video. Then after that, you can export in 4K inside CapCut. So those are the three approaches I use so that I can have 4K video, but my generation will be at 1080p and 720p resolution. So those are the approaches. Those are the steps I followed during that full K-drama, that full AI film production.